In late 1990, as the United States rapidly expanded military readiness in response to Iraq's invasion of Kuwait, American forces across the country were placed on accelerated training schedules. Units were rushed through live-fire exercises designed to prepare them for combat conditions that many had not faced in decades. Among the busiest installations during this period was Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton in Southern California, the primary training ground for West Coast Marine units preparing for potential deployment to the Middle East. Camp Pendleton had long been used for amphibious warfare training, artillery drills, and combined arms exercises involving infantry, armored vehicles, and aviation. In 1990, the tempo of these drills increased sharply. Units were training under pressure, often rotating through complex scenarios involving simulated enemy contact, movement under fire, and coordination between multiple weapons systems. In this environment, the margin for error narrowed. During one such training operation in 1990, a live-fire exercise involving armored amphibious assault vehicles and infantry units resulted in the unintended firing of live ammunition in circumstances that were not fully controlled. The accident would expose weaknesses in communication, procedural discipline, and safety enforcement during high-tempo military training. The exercise involved AAV-7 amphibious assault vehicles, tracked armored vehicles designed to transport Marines from ship to shore and provide limited fire support. These vehicles were armed with mounted weapons capable of firing live rounds during designated live-fire portions of training. The exercise was intended to simulate combat movement, with clearly defined phases separating live-fire activity from troop maneuvering. According to official findings later released by the Marine Corps, the breakdown occurred when live ammunition was present during a phase of the drill where personnel believed only blank or simulated fire conditions applied. Miscommunication between range control, vehicle crews, and ground commanders resulted in confusion over the status of weapons systems. Safety protocols required multiple confirmations before live ammunition could be authorized, but under the compressed training schedule and operational pressure, those confirmations failed. As the drill progressed, one of the amphibious assault vehicles fired live rounds. The rounds struck within the training area, where Marines were operating under the assumption that no live fire was authorized in their sector at that moment. The impact was immediate and catastrophic. Marines were struck by fragments and direct fire, suffering fatal and severe injuries before the exercise could be halted. Emergency response teams were deployed within minutes, but the damage had already been done. The injured were evacuated to military medical facilities, and the training range was immediately shut down. All exercises at Camp Pendleton were suspended pending investigation. The Marine Corps launched a formal accident investigation, reviewing command decisions, range procedures, weapons handling, and communication logs. The findings concluded that the presence of live ammunition during an improperly controlled phase of the exercise was the central failure, compounded by unclear command authority over weapons release and inadequate verification procedures. Investigators found no evidence of intentional misconduct. Instead, the incident was attributed to systemic procedural failure, driven by accelerated training schedules, assumption-based decision-making, and insufficient enforcement of safety redundancies designed to prevent exactly this type of accident. The results of the investigation led to immediate changes. Live fire authorization protocols were revised to require explicit written confirmation across multiple command levels. Range control authority was strengthened, and training exercises were restructured to ensure physical separation between live fire zones and troop maneuver areas. Additional safety officers were mandated for combined arms drills involving armored vehicles. The accident also prompted broader discussions within the Department of Defense about the risks of compressing training cycles during periods of rapid mobilization. While realism was considered essential for combat readiness, the incident demonstrated that realism without rigid procedural discipline could be deadly.
For the families of the Marines killed, the findings offered explanation but little comfort. The deaths did not occur in combat, but during preparation for it. Memorial services were held on base, and the names of the fallen were added to unit records honoring those lost in service. Within the Marine Corps, the incident became part of institutional memory, referenced in safety briefings and officer training programs. It served as a reminder that live ammunition does not become safe through familiarity, and that training environments can be as lethal as combat zones when controls fail. By the time U.S. forces deployed to the Persian Gulf in early 1991, Camp Pendleton had resumed training under stricter safety frameworks. The changes implemented after the 1990 accident remained in place, shaping how live-fire exercises were conducted in the decades that followed. The incident did not involve enemy action, mechanical failure, or battlefield chaos. It occurred because live ammunition was present when it should not have been, and because assumptions replaced verification. In a military culture built on precision and discipline, that failure carried irreversible consequences. The drill was meant to prepare Marines for war. Instead, it became a lesson in how easily preparation itself can turn fatal.